Welcome to yet another entry into my diaries of a new DM. Today I'm going to be talking about the Homebrew. That's right, I made something myself. Now our players and their characters have been planning and anticipating infiltrating the Keep of Daggerford to overthrow the evil Lord Vaxius, who has been terrorizing the countryside and taxing them way too much. They were able to start infiltrating this keep by means of a ring that was supplied to them by the ex-Lord of Daggerford, the Baron Harlan Coventguard. They won this ring by means of completing a contest, which was actually a funhouse dungeon that he made. And if you'd like to know more about that, you can check out some previous videos of mine. But alas, they finally started infiltrating this keep in an attempt to overthrow this evil lord. So the first logical step for infiltrating this keep was to enter by means of the sewers and hopefully not draw too much attention. Now, some of the townspeople are creating a diversion outside with pitchforks and torches, acting like common rabble-rousers who are unhappy with their leadership. They open this magically sealed door by that ring, only to encounter this dark, dank, smelly, humid cavern. As they start proceeding through the cavern, weird things start to happen. Moss and ooze starts to creep its way towards them to absorb the party or corrode them. Then they start to encounter some weird monsters. This is where my homebrew monsters come in. They encountered these fungal zombies, which look like mudmen basically. They were caked in mud, but they also had these fungal spores that were coming off of them. So what I did was I used the zombie monster sheet from the monster manual, then appended some abilities onto these zombies from the Tome of Horrors, which was made by Frog God Games. So they were normal zombies with just a couple extra abilities. One was something like fluid globule, and another one was, I think, some kind of spores. I don't have the sheet in front of me right now. So that was one of the first and a little more of the basic enemies that they encountered. They did encounter a shambling mound, which was just the OG shambling mound from the monster manual. So that was not a homebrew character, but it was worth mentioning. His name, I think, is actually Sammy the Shambler. Then came the real homebrew monsters that I came up with. So first of all were two big cat-like creatures that they encountered with 6 legs and 2 big bloody wounds on their back. Most of the players and some of their characters would actually know that these resemble very closely displacer beasts. So they encountered one of those in a group of the zombies, and they move forward and they see some stairs leading up, which they assume enters the keep. But guarding this stairway are 2 more of these wounded displacer beasts, and then the creme de la creme, my pride and joy homebrew monster, the Mind Displacer. So what I did was I took a Mind Flayer mini and I cut the tentacles off of 2 displacer beasts, and I mashed them on the back of this Mind Flayer to create the Mind Displacer. I made my own character sheet and I took this to Reddit. That comes to my major point of this video. If you're making a homebrew monster for the first time, or a homebrew character, or homebrew anything, the internet is your best friend, and in my case, especially Reddit. I mean, it's a basic point, and it's 2019, so if you don't turn to the internet for help and information, welcome to the new century. I follow or whatever you call for Reddit, subscribe to, joined a few different Dungeons & Dragons communities, including DM Academy, Dungeons & Dragons, and Matt Colville's subreddit as well. And I took this character sheet and, of course, the subsequent photos of my mini to get some help creating accurate statistics and abilities for this monster. And that was the best thing I think I ever could have done. I tweaked some and took some abilities out that might have made it a little too OP, and also made it so it didn't seem like I literally just took two monsters and mashed them together. When I took it to the internet and showed it off, a lot of people offered some helpful critique that made the monster's stats and abilities a little more accurate, so it would be a little more balanced. So that's my main point of the video. If you make a homebrew character or monster or anything, taking it to specifically Reddit, I really haven't had a reason to use Reddit for anything else that I knew of until this, but as soon as I started getting into Dungeons and Dragons and specifically DMing, Reddit really has been my best friend. And the communities that I have joined have been extremely helpful, and the toxicity level has been fairly low. But for real, it's a basic point, but it still stands. Get your material out there, ask questions. I know it can be, even on the internet, it can be a little daunting to ask questions as a new player or a new DM of a game that's been around for decades, and you look at the forums and you look at the subreddits and everybody's using terminology that you don't really know yet. They're using acronyms you don't really know yet, talking about modules you've never heard of. It can be a little intimidating to jump in and say, what do I do with this? And ask basic questions to a very long-standing and intricate game. That's really all I have for you guys. I will be preoccupied for the next couple weeks, and then we also have Gen Con coming up August 1st through the 4th, which will cover that weekend as well. We're going to try to at least get one more session in before Gen Con, so we're not sitting for a literal month or so before our next session, but that may be the case. I will try to run a session and also get a video up for you guys before Gen Con. So either way, thank you guys for watching. Peace.